I've been around the block a few times, 43 years on this earth, and I thought I'd seen it all. Difficult bosses, unreasonable neighbors, bureaucrats who could make filling out a simple form feel like climbing Mount Everest. But nothing prepared me for what happened when our HOA president decided she could just take my family's lake. What started as an ordinary Tuesday morning turned into a 2-year battle that would shake our entire community to its core, and by the time it was over, the woman who tried to steal from my family had lost everything. This is that story. Picture this. It's early spring in East Texas. The bluebonnets are just starting to bloom, and I'm sitting on my back porch with my morning coffee, watching the sunrise paint golden streaks across our family lake. This isn't just any lake, folks.
Oh.
This 8-acre beauty has been in our family for 70 years. My grandfather, God rest his soul, spent 3 summers in the 1950s, turning a swampy mess into what neighbors still call the prettiest private lake in the county. Every 4th of July, every fishing trip with Dad, every quiet moment I needed to think things through, they all happened right here on this water. So you can imagine how I felt when I opened the local paper that morning and nearly dropped my coffee mug. Right there in the classifieds was a photo of my lake with an ad that made my blood run cold. Luxury lakefront living, available now. Prime waterfront access included with every purchase. Call Lakeside HOA for exclusive viewing. My hands were actually shaking as I reached for my phone. Lakeside HOA, this is Karen speaking. How may I assist you today? Let me tell you about Karen. She was one of those people who somehow made everything about her sound like she was doing you a personal favor. The type sweet as pie on the surface, but there was always something underneath that made you want to check your wallet after talking to her. Karen, I said, fighting to keep my voice steady. I'm looking at this morning's paper. I need you to explain to me why my family's private lake is in your real estate ad. There was this pause, the kind that tells you someone's deciding just how much truth they want to share. Oh, Mr. Walker, right? Well, we've made some exciting changes to our community amenities. The lake access is now part of our neighborhood package. It really adds value for everyone involved. Excuse me. I stood up so fast, my chair scraped against the porch. Karen, that lake isn't part of your neighborhood. It's not part of anybody's neighborhood except mine. My deed clearly shows now, she interrupted with this patronizing little laugh. Property boundaries can be, well, they're not always as clear-cut as people think. What matters is what's best for the community. And honestly, Jim can. I call you Jim. You should be thanking us. We're increasing your property value here. Thanking them. For stealing my lake, I hung up and immediately called the county clerk's office. 20 minutes later, I had confirmation of what I already knew. The HOA had absolutely zero legal claim to my property. That lake, the land around it, and every fish swimming in it belonged to me and my family. But Karen wasn't finished with me yet. 3 days later, I'm driving home from town when I see something that makes my heart skip a beat. There are cars parked along my fence line. I can see people walking across my pasture toward the lake. I pulled up fast and walked down to the water, where I found 6 strangers setting up fishing chairs on my private dock. Folks, I called out, trying to stay calm, I'm afraid you're on private property here. This middle-aged guy in a brand-new fishing vest looks up at me and says, oh, you must be the neighbor. The HOA lady told us the lake access comes with our lot purchase. Beautiful spot you've got here. The HOA lady told you what now? Yeah, Karen something or other. A really nice lady. Said this was all part of the community amenities. We just bought a lot in the subdivision last week. My heart sank. These weren't troublemakers. They were good people who'd been lied to, but they were still on my land. I'm really sorry, I said, and I meant it, but there's been a misunderstanding. This is my family's private property. The HOA has no authority here. Confusion on their faces told me everything I needed to know about what Karen was up to. That evening, I called her again. Karen, we have a problem. You're sending buyers onto my private property under false pretenses. This stops now. Mr. Walker, she said, and I could hear her typing on a keyboard. I've already spoken with several county officials about your territorial behavior. Some of our new residents are feeling intimidated. My territorial behavior. Karen there. Trespassing. That's not how the community sees it. Frankly, if you keep making trouble, I may have to contact the sheriff's department about harassment. She hung up on me. The next morning, I watched 2 patrol cars pull into my driveway. Mr. Walker. The first deputy was young, probably fresh out of training. We got a call about some kind of dispute over lake access. I showed them everything my deed, the survey maps, the tax records. Both deputies looked them over carefully, and I could see the older one shaking his head. "Sir," he said quietly, "you're absolutely in the right here. But, ... He glanced back toward the subdivision. "These HOAs, they've got connections. They know people at the courthouse, if you catch my meaning. Are you telling me that doesn't matter? I'm telling you to be careful. Document everything. And maybe think about getting yourself a good lawyer." That afternoon, I called every real estate attorney in a 50-mile radius until I found one who specialized in HOA disputes. His name was Bill Morrison, and he'd been fighting these battles for 20 years. "Jim," he said after reviewing my case, "you've got them dead to rights legally, but Karen's playing a different game here. She's betting you'll get tired and give up." That's not going to happen, Bill. Good, because I think I've found something. That'll make this very interesting." He spread out a map on his desk and pointed to a narrow strip of land at the subdivision entrance. "See this? That's Karen's personal lot, and it contains the only legal road easement into the neighborhood. Without access through that property, the HOA's road becomes a dead end." I studied the map more carefully. "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking Karen might be willing to sell that lot if the price was right and if someone else owned it." He smiled. "Well, let's just say the tables would turn very quickly. Within a week, I'd learned everything there was to know about Karen's finances. She was house poor, maxed out on credit cards from constantly renovating her property, and behind on her HOA dues, which was ironic considering she was the president. Made a cash offer on her lot for $20,000 over market value. She signed the papers within 3 days. I don't think she even looked at the survey map that showed exactly what she was selling. All she saw were dollar signs the morning after the sale closed. I had my contractor install a beautiful new gate across the subdivision entrance. Wrought iron with a keypad lock and a very professional sign that read, "Private property access. By permission only." My phone started ringing at 6 a.m. "Mr. Walker, this is the Henderson family from Lot 12. We can't get to our house." "Mr. Walker, I've got to get to work. What's going on with the gate? Is this some kind of joke? You can't block our road." By 8 a.m., I had 17 voicemails and 23 text messages. At 8:15, Karen's car came screaming up to the gate. She was out of that car before it stopped rolling, marching up to the gate like she owned the place, which of course she no longer did. "Open this gate right now," she screamed. I walked down from my porch, taking my time. "Good morning, Karen. Beautiful day, isn't it? Don't you dare play games with me. You're blocking families from their homes." "Actually," I said, pulling out the deed, "I'm standing on my own property. The property you sold me 3 days ago." For the first time since I'd known her, Karen was speechless. "That's right," I continued. "You own the road access easement, which means every time someone drives to their house, they're driving across my land. And since you tried to steal my lake and sell access to my property to unsuspecting buyers, I think it's time we renegotiated the terms of this relationship." She turned 3 different shades of red. You can't do this. I'll call the sheriff." "Ahead, but when they get here, I'll show them the same deed you signed. And I'll tell them how you've been advertising my private property as an HOA amenity." The sheriff did come. 2 deputies, actually. But this time, they weren't questioning me. They were trying to keep Karen from doing something that would get her arrested. "Ma'am," the older deputy said firmly, "Mr. Walker owns this property legally. You sold it to him. If you have a dispute about the sale, that's a civil matter. People can't get to their homes, and you'll need to work that out with the property owner." The HOA tried to sue me, of course. They claimed I was holding the neighborhood hostage. The judge threw their case out in 15 minutes. "You cannot sell what you do not own," he told Karen sternly. "And you cannot claim rights to property that clearly belongs to someone else. Mr. Walker has every legal right to control access to his land." But the real justice came from the community itself. Once homeowners realized that, Karen's schemes had destroyed their property values overnight. No, guaranteed road access meant their homes were virtually worthless. They turned on her completely. HOA held an emergency election. Karen was voted out unanimously. 3 families filed suit against her personally for misrepresentation. Her own neighbors stopped speaking to her. Within 6 months, she'd packed up and left town. I'm not heartless, folks. I don't want to trap good people in their homes because of one person's greed. So one offered the HOA a fair deal. Pay a reasonable annual easement fee for road access, or build your own road entirely within the subdivision boundaries. Most homeowners agreed immediately. Property values stabilized. Life went back to normal in my lake. It's still exactly where it's always been, on my family's land, where it belongs. Every evening now, when I sit on that dock and watch the sun set over the water my grandfather created, I think about what happened. Karen tried to take something that wasn't hers, something that represented 70 years of my family's history and hard work. She gambled that I'd be too intimidated or too tired to fight back. She was wrong sometimes. In life, you have to stand up for what's right, even when it's hard. Even when people try to use their positions of authority to push you around. My grandfather used to say, the best revenge is living well and playing by the rules. Karen forgot the second part of that wisdom, and in the end, it cost her everything. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life tales of standing up to bullies and fighting for what's right. And remember, always read the fine print, especially when someone's trying to sell you something that seems too good to be true. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.